Merry belated Christmas, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Retro Gamers, episode 72. Larry here.
Ho, ho, ho.
What? And Anthony over there. What's going on, Ant?
Oh, it was Santa.
I could have sworn. I'm sorry. I got confused. Sounded the same.
Yeah, well, it's December 26th, and Santa has nothing to do, so he's going to sit on his fat ass and be on the Retro Gamers.
He's already on his way home.
Yeah, well, I think he's already home, but that's okay. Yes, Anthony here.
Merry belated Christmas, Anthony.
Merry Christmas Kwanzaa.
26. Well, 26 is Boxing Day, ain't it?
Yes, and happy Boxing Day to all.
There you go.
We have made it through the holidays.
We did. We made it through another year. A rough one, an ugly one.
Well, we didn't get through another year yet. We haven't made it to
That's
2018.
True. Well, we're getting there, though.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
What? But it's been a very weird. It was a fast year. This year ran, in my opinion, went so quick.
It went super fast and at the same time super slow for a lot of reasons.
Really, I didn't
that are not related to our podcast. So we'll
okay.
Them.
I was gonna say, I wish this year would have slowed down just a little bit.
Yeah, it would have been nice to take in some of the year, but I was too busy traveling.
That's true. You did a lot of traveling. In fact, that's pretty much how this whole lot of this started this year.
Yeah, pretty well. I think half of our topics came from Japan. So
it did. Well, most of your early recordings were from the Land of the Rising Sun.
Yeah, basically, it was like I'm in Japan again. I'm at Super Potato again. I miss Super Potato. I haven't been there in 5 months.
You need to go back. There's more stuff I need to get.
Oh, trust me, I will be returning to Japan next year. So.
Okay. Is this like a thing?
Work-related thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, I'm not going for fun.
Aw.
I know, but I will. I will find time for Super Potato. I will always find time for Super Potato.
Well, now that I got the Famicom games going, and I'm getting that, I ordered the. I don't know if I talked about this last time. I ordered the Hyperkin Super Retron HD, which is their Super Nintendo clone. Nice. I did have one on order by a company called Analog, which is great. Check them out. Yep. Theirs came out. Right? The Super NT, which actually was loaded with 2 games, Super Turrican and Super Turrican Director's Cut. So it was actually kind of worth the price, but it was like $220 after tax and shipping and stuff, which, fine. But the Super Retron is like $70, and I'm getting it from GameStop. So
nice.
So I canceled Super NT. Nothing wrong with it, just money-wise. But the
more budget-friendly.
Absolutely. But the Super Retron will also play American and Japanese games, which I think is awesome, right in the system.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, when the Super Nintendo came out, like unlike the NES and the Famicom, which like the cartridges were completely different, the Super Nintendo and the Super Famicom, I think they were close enough where you could conceivably play them. Play the games on each other.
Well, remember what the way to get your North American Super Nintendo to play Famicom games.
Yeah, there was you just took there was a little thing you popped out.
Yeah, these 2 little things, tabs, you just snap off inside the Super Nintendo, and ba-boom, you can play Super Famicom games. Yeah,
I mean, they definitely made it a lot easier to play those, and then of course that stopped.
Yeah. So
after that, they were like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah, right. So I'm looking forward to the Super NT. In fact, I've already purchased my first Super Nintendo game from GameStop. Yep, it's the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse.
That's your game?
Yes. I've been wanting because I've heard a lot of good things, more good than bad about it. I've seen gameplay. And a friend of mine has been recommending it. My friend Mario, who listens to the show. He's a big collector, big Sega fan, and he has been talking about Magical Quest for a while. So I'm like, you know what? Because I might as well, if I'm going to start doing this now with collecting retro games. I mean, yes, I want to get back the games that I loved and played, but might as well take the opportunity to start buying up games I've never played before.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, especially since, like, I was about to say, I'm like, why would, Super Mario World should be like your first one, but it's like, since we have the SNES Classic,
that's it.
You don't really need to get those right now.
Did not need to say SNES. But yes, the Super Nintendo Classic, those games, pretty much any game, like, here's my stance. As much as we're not crazy about emulators, there's definitely something about the physical cartridge that is so much fun to play off of. Me, like, I don't have a problem recognizing that I own the game on either the Virtual Console or through one of the classics. To me, that's fine. To me, that's the same as a cartridge because it's like from Nintendo. It's on a Nintendo system. I don't have a problem with that. It's, those other games that I don't have on Virtual Console or on any of the classics. Those are the ones I'll seek out. Really try and seek out. If I can find other ones that I already owned, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I personally, like, I'm a big fan of cartridges, so even if I have them on, like, the SNES Classic or something like that, I'm still going to want to buy the cartridges, just because I like collecting them. I mean, I'm closing it. I have over 400.
There you go.
Over 400 games now across all of my platforms, not counting the Commodore 64 collection. I've yet to dip into.
You haven't cataloged that one yet?
No, and that one's going to take the longest because there are easily, like, maybe a couple of hundred games in there. Because, on the Commodore 64, you were able to put, like, a game on each side of the floppy disk. So a lot of those have 2 games on them, which is really cool.
So this year, definitely my collection, as I stare at it, has definitely grown by leaps and bounds.
Awesome. Maybe one day you'll catch up to me.
We'll see if I have that much money. Actually, I just got a few games from GameStop. I just picked up a few, besides the Super Nintendo game. On the NES, I picked up Back to the Future. Yes, terrible game, but fun to own.
Terrible game, but I can't stop playing it.
Yeah, honestly, it's terrible. Like, it's like driving by a car crash. You have to watch.
It really is.
Jaws.
I have that as well. I've beaten that game way too many times.
Kung Fu.
I love that game.
And the reason why I got Kung Fu is because on a brother episode of ours here on the More the Same Network, the Yin and the Yang, Anthony Chu, he mentioned Kung Fu, and it was funny. Like, he was talking about, like, the stuff that, like, really brought it back. I'm like, wow, I forgot about that game. So
yeah, I remember playing that. I remember playing that game in my pizzeria when I was a kid, like the arcade version.
Oh,
it was awesome.
And also a game, like I just mentioned before, now those 3 I've owned in the past, but one I picked up I've never owned before. I figured, what the heck? Knight Rider.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I'm assuming it's just like a racing game of some kind.
It's kind of like a hybrid Rad Racer versus, like, it's Rad Racer with guns. It's pretty much what it is.
That makes sense. Because Knight Rider's cars shot bullets.
Yeah, no, actually, no. No. Well, Knight Rider kit changed so often.
Yes, he did.
Honestly, now of course that was the 4 for $20 deal, and of course 2 of the games not working up to capacity. So I'm going to consider those the free ones because they were $10 each.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to love the GameStop deals. Well, it also comes down to the system you have. I mean,
true.
If you really,
true.
If you get an actual NES, those would probably work fine.
Totally different ballgame. I'm fully aware because I use the Retron, the Hyperkin Retron HD1, so I am aware there's going to be some limitation. I was getting closer. I got the rubbing alcohol. I got the cotton swabs. I'm cleaning these down. Jaws and what did I mention? Kung Fu, Knight Rider.
Jaws, Kung Fu, Knight Rider, and I already forgot.
Yeah, me too. I own them.
Don't know.
Oh, here they are. I got them right here.
moving on.
Oh, Back to the Future. That's right.
Back to the Future,
so, Back to the Future and Jaws were the ones that are giving me some trouble, but the more I clean them, I'm getting closer and closer, and there was some dirt coming off there, so...
Okay.
I'm getting
So
there.
maybe one day you will be able to play the god-awful Back to the Future again.
I'm really excited to play Jaws again.
Oh, God. I love that game. It's a terrible game, but I love that game.
So I'm finding these games, and also I just want to give a quick shout out as well to this is a bit local, but it's out here on Long Island. There's two spots on Miller Place and Smithtown called Game On, retro gaming store. I follow them online. Check out our Instagram at @the_retro gamers. We follow them there. They have a ton of video games. They sell every once in a blue moon. They'll sell a homebrew.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, and I don't know if I would call them custom, but they pretty much sell rebuilt Game Boys, original Game Boys that they put in a backlight, and the casing can be customized as far as colors.
Oh, that's awesome.
And these things look beautiful. And they just started doing it with Game Boy Advances, where they're putting in backlights. The Game Boy Advance never had a backlight.
All right,
and
cool.
clearly the Game Boy never had a backlight. So when I'm gonna after the holidays, I'm picking myself up a Game Boy. With a backlight. Holy cow!
I think that's awesome. Yeah, I was, me, I'm not the handheld gamer kind of person, but still, that's great. Oh, and just so you know, GameStop still has the 4 for $20 deal if you want to still go shopping.
Go for it. I'm good for now because it's weird.
It's never good enough.
Here's the weird thing about that GameStop. Online, apparently they say you have 7 days to return the game if it's not working. But if I buy the game in store, I have like 30 days.
Oh.
Yeah, a little weird.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, for the retro games, though, they don't have them in stores, so you have to...
No, some, not all, but I got to actually a lot of those NES games I saw in my local store. They had Battletoads, they had Jaws,
really?
They had Kung Fu. Yeah,
they have none of those in my stores.
Not a lot. It wasn't a lot, but it was some.
I wouldn't even know where to look for them in our stores. Like, every time I go to a GameStop here, and I go to like a lot, I go to like at least 3 or 4 different GameStops, and none of them have anything before the PlayStation 3.
Really? No, the one by me has a good one. But you know what I can't find?
What can you not find?
Super Mario cereal.
Oh God. I'm about ready to give up on it because I think I've been to every Walmart and Target near me. And then I went online to Kellogg's because you could search for it as well.
Did you? I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, you can go on Kellogg's and they allow you to search for stores in the area that are carrying it and nothing. I have
to check that near me. Wow.
Yeah, by the way, if you find it, buy me one.
Oh, absolutely. To bring everyone up to speed, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about Super Mario cereal that Nintendo has put out. This new cereal where the box is also an amiibo that you can use on Super Mario Odyssey, which, on a side note, I'm at like 347 moons now.
Oh, you need to catch up.
Yeah. Please.
I've cleared 800.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, I've been busy, so... My godson actually just got Super Mario Odyssey. He's already at like 400.
Yeah, see, you need to go a little faster.
So Super Mario 2, and then we were actually what started as kind of like a joke ended up becoming this real thing where we were planning it out. Us here at the Retro Gamers, and then Josh and Brandon over on the PS Midnight Cast in Victims and Villains. Check them out. We were gonna do the stupid thing where we eat the cereal. Nothing to we would just that's all we were gonna do was just eat the cereal on camera. It's gonna be very awkward. So we figured, okay, we'll go out and we'll get the cereal. Who knew that this freaking thing would be so difficult to find? You would think it'd be in the major stores, Target, Walmart, Stop and Shop. I don't know if they have them out there by you. They have them out here by me.
They don't.
It's a cereal. I don't get why it's so difficult to find.
And well, here's exactly what happened according to a friend of mine who finally gave in and bought one online.
Oh gosh, how much did that
because
cost?
On eBay, $30. Right now there is somebody on eBay who's selling them for $13.99. I see $12. So, but here's the story that he got. he said that people are going into Walmart, Target, whatever it is that carries them. They're not buying a box. They're buying the case. So they're asking the supermarket to give them a case from the back, and then they're running online, and then they're selling them for a premium.
Gotcha.
So that's what's happening.
Wow. Yeah, this thing I'm not flipping over like I did on the other, like the classics. You know, I get it. I know it. Would have been fun to do this thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, and for $14 with free shipping, you can.
I mean, how much is a box of cereal normally? $6?
They range between like $3 and $5, and then when they're on sale, they're like, they can be like $2.
Well, here's my question: how much was this box? Like, what was the?
I'm gonna guess it was probably $4 or $4.50.
The average retail price, as per The Price is Right.
That was my guess was like $4 or $4.50.
Okay, so so don't really hold your breath, people, for us doing the live.
Well, this guy's got it for $12 with free shipping. Somebody.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. For $12, I may pull the trigger just so I can have it and eat it.
All hope.
Because that's all I want to do. I just want to eat it.
All hope may not be. Oh yeah, look, this guy took a picture of the Super Mario cereal box that he picked up from the store. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the bottom line is, anybody listening, if you happen to come across a box of Super Mario cereal in a supermarket somewhere, just grab it.
All right, so it's not...
Even if you don't want it.
This one's not Nintendo's fault. It's just the jerks that are going out, buying them, and then jacking the price.
No. It's definitely Nintendo's fault because, once again, I will go out on a limb and say that, they did the limited quantity crap.
Well,
here's somebody selling a case of 10 for $200. But that's the problem. It's like people walked in and bought cases. So I'm going to argue that Nintendo once again dropped the ball, and that seemed to be a recurring theme of 2017 for Nintendo.
I don't. You know what? I'm going to disagree with you on the cereal, but I will agree with you on a lot of other things this year. Which I hate to say because we do talk a lot of Nintendo. Yet the bashing does tend to commence pretty much with Nintendo, especially this year. They had a rough go around the end of 2016 heading into this year.
They definitely did. I mean, between the, first off, we started off with the whole NES Classic debacle at the end of 16.
Yeah.
And just, you could not find one anywhere. And then they were marked up online for like $300. And that bled into 17 because then what started happening with them is they would randomly show up at like place. All of a sudden, like you'd hear, hey, Best Buy's got them online for 5 seconds, or GameStop's got them online for 2 seconds, and bots would just eat them up before you even had a chance to order one. So I got lucky over the summer because it was on the Amazon Treasure Truck by me.
Yeah, which I find very funny because your Treasure Trucks gives NES Classics, where mine I get a text message saying 2 for $18 holiday hams.
Yeah, I got that one too. Did you get a ham?
Oh, okay. No, I did not.
Well, you should have gotten a ham. But I think, so I got lucky with the NES Classic. But then there was the debacle with the pre-orders for the SNES Classic in July on Walmart when it accidentally went up and they had to cancel all of those.
Yeah.
And then there was that mess. And then there was the pre-order, and then there was the pre-order debacle again in August? And then it was just like, I don't know. And now the Super Mario cereal thing, it's like Nintendo's, gotta do something to fix all this stuff.
Nintendo, look, but here's the thing, when something is considered a limited quantity, a limited run, you have to, everyone has to go into it knowing that, yes, it is limited, so you may not be able to get it. Now, there's a difference between that and either grossly underestimating the number of people who will be wanting the product, which the NES Classic, you can debate their core audience versus who ended up buying the NES Classic. That's kind of debate there. Super Nintendo wasn't as bad as the Nintendo. As case in point, the two of us went months before getting an NES Classic, but the day of for the Super Nintendo, we had multiple ones in hand.
That's very true.
Yeah.
For that, for that they kind of fixed it, which was good. I mean, people were still buying them and selling them marked up
of course,
online,
yeah.
but I think it was just a year of. I mean, granted, I mean, all of Nintendo's success this year came from the Switch. You know what I mean? Like, the Switch was their big. The Switch was their big thing. So I think all of these other things, I mean, they're so ancillary that it probably, it doesn't matter to them. But then, Nintendo's MO for their entire existence has always been that limited quantity and pushing everything out in drips and drabs, so that it can avoid having overstocked items. As per my reading of Console Wars this year. Which was an excellent book, and if anybody wants to know about how Sega and Nintendo operated, especially at the height of the video game wars between them in the early 90s, you should pick up that book. But that book lays out Nintendo's company like just straight on. This has been their mentality for over 30 years, and they're not going to change.
I guess, listen, if it works, it works. I mean, Nintendo's still around. Everyone clamored for the Switch, which I don't blame them. Switch is an amazing system.
Yes,
we were out there waiting online for the Super NES Classic. I'm sure we'll do something kind of like it for the N64, if there's an N64 Classic, kind of, sort of. I know I'll probably do something like that if they do this Game Boy Classic that's rumored.
Yeah, the Game Boy. It sounds like the Game Boy Classic is next, and then maybe the N64 Classic after that.
And supposedly the NES Classic's coming out during the summer. So, Nintendo definitely had its fair share of stories this year, but also this year saw a lot of the mini consoles start to break out. The Commodore 64 Mini, I think, was probably one of the most interesting one that's gearing up.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm very excited. I was very excited when the news of the Commodore 64 Mini came out. I was excited when the Atari box announced that they were coming out with a system, and they said it was gonna be like some type of hybrid that would play old and new games. So there were a lot of announcements this year. There were some misses, like the Atari flashback and the Genesis flashback by At Games.
Yeah.
So little missteps there, but in general, the actual companies bringing their systems back. I mean, I'm all on board. And then was there one for Amiga too? I think there was one for Amiga as well.
Was it the Amiga or was it the ZX, the Spectrum ZX?
Oh, that was it. It was the ZX Spectrum. That was it. There's just a lot of classics coming next year, and that's all based on the success of the NES and the SNES
and the clones. These clone systems that are starting to make their way out, like the Hyperkin clones, the NES, Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo seems to be getting more. And when I say clones, meaning the copyright or the registration or whatever it's called ran out. Nintendo ran out the patents on the NES and the Super Nintendo, so it's kind of an open door for anyone to make these systems. And that's what Hyperkin, that's what I think it's Retro USB. I'm trying to think. Player One over there on Super Retro Game Time just got one. The AVS, I think it's called. I mean, great system, don't get me wrong. These, playing these old games now in full full HD. Being able to hook them up to a newer television.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you can get a HDMI splitter to work, which I can't seem to do, then I would. Really
you should have bought the one that I bought. Mine works fine.
So I think 2017 lent itself to the genesis, no pun intended, of the minis, of the clone systems. What can we expect in 2018? What's next? Are we going to see N64 clones? Are we going to see more minis of some more systems? Like a Game Gear or maybe the TurboGrafx. Maybe that's time to make its way back.
That would be nice. It's funny. I would actually like to see an actual Sega classic console made by Sega.
That'd be nice
instead of a third party.
Yeah.
So I think I think that would be most welcome. And maybe, just maybe, Larry, you'll get your Virtual Boy Classic.
I'm hoping. Virtual Boy's classic.
I know, and they can literally include every single game made for that system because I believe there were 20 whole games.
It's called convenience, and it's called marketing factor.
Yeah, and it's called epilepsy and seizures. So don't hold your breath on it, but you never know. But so that was a cool thing. The classics were cool for 2017, and for those of you listening, we're kind of just I think we're just going through like a year in review of like all the stuff that's gone down in 2017 for retro gaming. One thing that's retro game related, but is not an actual game that I really enjoyed this year, was the Castlevania series on Netflix.
Yes, that show. I mean, it was only 4 episodes, but it was just genius.
Yeah, they really did an excellent job, and not only was it a good show, but it was actually very true to the source content. So they took the story from Castlevania 3, turned it into a 4-episode series on Netflix. And to be honest with you, I mean, it was really just the setup. It was kind of like almost a prequel to the show itself.
Pretty much. Any news when season 2's coming out?
No, I know that they greenlit it, but they haven't announced season 2. But I also think based on the success of the Castlevania series, I'm sure we're going to see more series pop up, whether on Netflix or other platforms, for Nintendo.
I hope so.
The same way that we're probably going to start seeing some feature films.
Probably.
Based on that other announcement that came this year about the Super Mario movie.
Very true. That's going to open the door for a lot of things. Talking about the Netflix show, I mean, that was just beautifully done. I mean, it was violent, but it was, and I'm not complaining about that, but it was it just looked gorgeous. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that season 2. I think 2017 also really opened us, kind of like a few years ago, like when the first Avengers movies came out. It kind of that opened the door for like, all right, now it's cool to have superhero movies. Like it was good for all the movies beforehand, but once you got the Avengers, that ensemble cast on screen, I feel like that's really when all these superhero movies really started to kick off, where it was okay to be into them. And I think again in 2017, it was okay again to be back into gaming, especially classic games, these old school games that just get better with time, a lot of them.
Yeah, well, I think the retro game craze just started coming around in the U.S. It's been prevalent, like I said, when I was traveling to Japan, I was saying, it's interesting over there because there's a lot of respect, for retro gaming, to the point where, you can go buy it. You can go to one of these stores like a Super Potato or whatever, and you can go buy a retro game in its original packaging with the instruction. They really take care of their stuff over there. Now, granted, there are loose games as well, but it's just amazing to see, how well respected the history of video games are there, just based on these types of stores and the retro gaming that goes on there, and the arcades that are prevalent all over the place. Seeing the Sega arcades all over was just amazing. And now, here in the States, retro gaming is starting to catch on now, and who knows what else that's going to bring. So, are we going to see the return of some arcades, like some throwback arcades or some new arcades? Because those have been kind of like a dying breed also. But as time goes on, these things have potential to return.
When I, again, this is a little local, but talking about arcades, when I went and saw The Last Jedi a couple weeks ago, it was at a mall out here in Hicksville, New York, on Long Island, and I didn't even realize they redid this. It's been a while since I was at this particular mall. They installed this. It's almost like a Dave & Buster's, even almost like how, again, when we were growing up, Fun Time, USA. Yep. Just this huge arcade. I got to go back one day soon. This huge arcade. It had, I saw, like right off the bat, I saw it had the Mario Kart arcade. It had a Batman driving arcade. I saw a lot of the bigger machines, like the racing games, like all those linked together. I saw some stuff in the back of the room, but I was heading for the theater, so I really couldn't see much of it. But seeing something like that, knowing that there are Dave & Buster's out there this year, we broadcast a couple of times from the Cradle of Aviation Museum out here on Long Island, which has a video game expo that they had all year. Hopefully they're going to continue it next year. That had arcades, that had video games up through the Dreamcast. So, and when I went, the future, because it was out here on the East Coast, so I know you came out that one time for the expo, but
yes, which was fantastic, by the way.
It was so much fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, I picked up a bunch of games, and I got to see you buy a broken Virtual Boy.
Yeah, I was so close, so close.
I know, and it was just, fate and all its glory stepped in.
Thank God I got a full refund on it.
Yes,
and in cash too. When I went to the expos, when I did the live streams, which are still up, you can find them at facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. To see the lines at these arcades, to see kids playing like the Nintendo, the Genesis, the Master System, it was just cool to see. The past meeting the future. Any other cliches you want to call it. It really this year definitely saw a lot, and the amount of games that even I didn't realize I was never exposed to growing up, because I only had those core set of games, like the ones that I own. And I remember this. I had 89 NES games. I remember that for a fact, because it was always Bugman. I never had 90. So, and I remember all those 89, and it's weird, like I just, in that world, I never thought of any of the other games I could have played. So now's my opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. We have a chance that we have a chance now to go back and play all these games that we did not, that we didn't touch back then. Because let's face it, I mean, when you're growing up, it's like, there are only so many games that you can play because you're actually out there playing with friends and enjoying yourself and whatnot. So, now as an adult, when you're not concerned about like coming home at 8 o'clock and not leaving the house, and you don't want to stay up late and play with your friends, you can turn on a system and play a good old retro game.
Absolutely. And speaking of retro, again, something old that's new. This week, just to let everyone know, I guess now at this point last week, the game I've been waiting for, but the arcade game versus Super Mario Brothers was just released on the Switch. It's part of their Nintendo arcade series. It's the second game, I think, that came out for the arcade series. And I picked that up real quick. Oh my God, I forgot how fun it is, how different it is slightly from Super Mario Brothers, and how difficult it is.
Yes, and I am looking forward to buying it. So because we can play online, right? We can play each other online.
That one I don't know.
Well, we should be able to.
I'm not sure. I know later on when the whole Nintendo Online thing comes out, that's a different ballgame. This one I'm not 100% sure. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, eventually they got to put out stuff that we can play because we have to live stream it.
Yeah. So 2017 brought us a lot of stuff. We can only imagine what 2018 is going to bring us. We're going to find out very shortly as we're rapidly approaching 2018. And what do you of anything? What would you like to see maybe happen in 2018? Anything that you heard, like through a rumor mill, that you would like to see?
No, I haven't really heard anything through rumor mills. What I would really like to see is I would like to see the Final Fantasy VII remake finally get released on the PlayStation 4 so I can play it.
Okay.
There's that. What else in 2018? I would like for Atari Box to actually give us some details on what this system is.
We were really close to a release date.
Well, we were close to a pre-order.
Pre-order date, yeah.
But they still haven't released any details on the system. And I'm sorry, I love you, Atari, but you got to tell me what this thing's about if you want my money, and see what they're looking to see how many pre-orders they get before they move forward with the system. It's like, but you got to tell people what's the deal with the system. You're saying it can play current games. Are they going to be third-party games? Are they going to be first-party games? And then the retro games, are they going to be like a virtual console type of deal? It's like, we need more information on that. So if Atari wants to release this thing, they're going to have to give up some info. And we should see that in 2018.
Fair enough. So here's the 2018 as we get there. And, well, who knows what the world's going to bring us.
All right, Larry, it is time for the last Wacky Retro Game of the Year.
Wacky,
we are there.
Yeah. Oh, this is the last episode before New Year. Yeah.
This is the last episode of 2017.
Oh,
man.
So,
and since it is the holidays, and one day removed from Christmas, I thought I would find a wacky retro game that is holiday related.
Okay.
So this week's wacky retro game is called Santa's Xmas Caper. Xmas for Christmas, but it was spelled Xmas. So Santa's Christmas Caper for the Commodore 64, released in 1990. So this was probably at the end of the Commodore's run, towards the end.
Yeah.
It was developed by Zeppelin Games Limited.
Okay.
And in this game, what happens is Santa's elves drug his pudding, leaving poor Saint Nick too hammered to fly his sleigh on Christmas Eve.
God.
So it's up to you, the player, to take over and fly Santa's sleigh and make sure you deliver the toys to all the good little girls and boys. So it's a side-scrolling game. However, it's not as simple as just flying through the air and stopping at houses. No, there are things that are coming at you. So,
of course.
There are obstacles in the way. And what are those obstacles, you might ask?
What are those obstacles, I might ask?
Oh, okay. So, you have evil-looking snowmen. You have flying trains, penguins, candy, plungers.
Oh, boy.
And beach balls.
Well, summer is Christmas's worst enemy, yes.
And the way you take those items out is you throw snowballs at them to make sure they get out of your way so that you can deliver the toys on Christmas Day. This game is it's kind of like a Gradius type of side-scrolling game. So it may be right up your alley.
But if you throw a snowball at a snowman, wouldn't that just make him stronger?
You would think so, but apparently not in this game. So, and besides, they're evil snowmen, so it's
they
okay.
really are. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just love the fact that that the concept of the game revolves around Santa being drugged by his elves.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So, I mean, you know what? The elves finally got revenge for all that slave labor. So Santa's Christmas Caper is this week's wacky retro game.
All right, the 2017 is just so much. This kind of like this is like a year, and this episode's the year in review.
Well, yeah, that's what I said like 15 minutes ago, but you weren't listening.
I'm reiterating. It's called reiterating.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, there are so many things. There's so many things that happened this year, retro game wise. There's so many things that happened with our show. We made it through 2017. This was our first full year of weekly episodes. That
is true.
I believe, of course, along the way, I think there were 1 or 2 weeks that we missed, but we had, but more or less, we hit, we hit a lot of episodes. We did a couple of specials along the way when the Switch came out, and we had a couple other ones in there somewhere.
E3, we did an E3 special.
We did an E3 special as well to talk about new games because we're not just retro gamers, we're current gamers,
absolutely,
as well. I just had another one at the tip of my tongue, like things in 2017. We hit 1,000 subscribers on Facebook.
We did, and we're actually rapidly approaching 1,100.
Yeah, we're about to hit 1,100, which is awesome.
Yes.
We teamed up with Josh and Brandon over at PS Midnightcast to do weekly live streams, which has been fun.
And that, I think, is one of the biggest things I can say that's happened to us with the show in 2017. The camaraderie, the hashtag pod brotherhood that we have with Victims and Villains and the PS Midnightcast, 2 great podcasts. Check them out. Josh and Brandon, respectively. Like you just mentioned, we started doing what in August because we started doing it for July or August. I keep forgetting.
August.
We started doing it for SummerSlam.
We started with wrestling games
for
SummerSlam.
Yep. When we joined up with them, to every once in a while we did a few crossovers. I think the first crossover we did was with Power Rangers.
Yes,
that was the very first crossover we did with where they came on our show. Josh actually had a co-host back then. That wasn't Brandon. Yeah, we talked about the video games on our end, and then we talked about, in my opinion, the horrible movie on their show. And then later on, we did the Castlevania crossover.
Yep.
And just recently, we did a couple of, and every now and again, we either one of us was on one of Josh's shows, whether it was a co-host or panelist. We had Josh co-hosted.
Yeah, Josh co-hosted.
Full episode.
A whole episode was when I went missing, right? For a week.
No, when I was
no,
at
that's
SummerSlam.
when you went. I'm sorry, you went missing.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went missing.
And when I go to New Orleans, may have to do something again.
No, we'll Larry. I've said this before. Like, if I can find a way to record our episodes from Osaka, Japan, I think you can find a way to do it at WrestleMania.
I don't know if I can with my father looking at me going, "What are you doing?" with the look on his face, like,
throw your dad $50 and send him to the bar.
Oh, please! Last time we went to the bar, he drank and ate for free.
All right, so just send him to the bar.
Bugs me. Remember that? Anyway.
Yes. Anyway, so so we've kind of adopted Josh as like the third retro gamer, which is kind of cool. He also does the intro for This Week in Gaming.
He's now doing the intro every week. You're right.
Yes, that ear-splitting screech.
And Brandon has been great as well. Brandon's really the PS Midnight Cast. They do a lot about 90s. They're also retro on the PS Midnight Cast.
Yes,
they talk about all things 90s, and they've talked about games. They've talked about TV shows. Brandon talks about wrestling, and Brandon and Josh. They've both, for these live streams, they've broken out some games, like just some that you kind of forgot about. Some you didn't think that, because Josh has admitted he wasn't a gamer, before he really started talking to us. At least not in the way that he's starting to become. He's not like us, I don't think, but he's getting, like, he just bought a Genesis.
Yeah, he did. Like, he's, we've converted.
We sure have.
One.
And he's done some terrible games, which is fun. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. It's just awesome to see all these random games coming out.
So that was a huge plus. Also, if I have to say, just not even for our show, but for our network, more of the same network. Myself and Frank, the better half, actually did an episode of Victims and Villains while during New York Comic Con weekend, and we've even had Josh do a little bit of a PSA on the yin and the yang. And I think I can safely say at this point, negotiations are in order, where the legal team at the More of the Same network is writing up possibly a contract for probably a new show on the network that may involve Brandon, myself, and actually Glenn Notaro, another adopted honorary retro gamer. We got to give Glenn a shout out.
Yep, got to give Glenn a shout out. I mean, there are a lot of shout outs to give, because there's Frankie, our number one fan, who always contacts us.
Was that 2017? We did that in 2017.
What, Frankie?
The episodes from Barcade. Yeah, I guess that was 2017.
Barcade. We were at Barcade when we did that.
Ago.
Yeah, we had Frankie, and we also had Rich and Trish there.
Yeah.
We did an episode recently when I was in New York from Buffalo Wild Wings with Anthony Testaverde.
Yep.
So we've had a number of guests on the show this year, which has been really good. And we also had what was I just going to say? There was another guest somewhere in there.
Well, we've had
quite a few.
We have. Remember drunk Obi-Wan Kenobi at the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo?
Oh yeah, drunk Obi-Wan was great.
Those kids who showed up.
Yep, those kids who showed up. We've definitely.
That was our first attempt at a live show on Facebook, which kind of failed miserably because we had a rough connection, but that's all right.
I thought we got through like
we
a
got
good
about a half
chunk
hour.
there.
I think we got a good half hour, 25 minutes.
Exactly.
I want to back up for a moment. I do want to give please, we've already praised Josh. He's trying to take over the network. I want to give Glenn a really big shout out. Glenn helped us big time over here on the East Coast during those live streams from the retro game nights at the Cradle of Aviation. He was gracious enough to come out, kind of be my cameraman, help out there. He helped us out with camera work as well at the Retro Gaming Expo, and during that live stream. He was doing that. So, Glenn, huge shout out to you. Thank you very much for all your help.
Yes, thank you, Glenn. And also a special shout out to our buddy Charlie, the creator of the hashtag VB craze.
I still owe him an HDMI cable.
Yes, when are you going to send that to him?
One day.
One day.
Yeah.
Okay. But shout out to Charlie as well. Another gaming fan who got himself a mini Famicom from Japan.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. The one that dangles from the television. Charlie, is it still dangling from the television? I know you're listening. Just post it on the feed. I gotta know.
Yeah. For God's sakes, fix that, please.
Well, that's where that's where my HDMI cable is supposed to come into play.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, Larry, send them the cable so we can fix that.
One day.
Come on.
So the live streams have been big, yeah.
I was going to say the live streams have been fun, but there were other elements throughout the year that I think that are worth pointing out. One has been your failed promise. We're at the end of 2017 now. Your failed promise to complete Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest.
I was really hoping you weren't going to bring that up.
No, because you still haven't finished it.
No, I haven't. Yes, that's well, yeah. Look, I never said there was going to be a time frame behind when I would finish it. I just said I would eventually finish it, and I've only played it live on Facebook. I forgot how far I got into it. I may have to start it over.
Not that far.
No, I didn't get that far. No,
you didn't get that far. But the whole purpose was you were going to complete a game, and then I was going to complete a game, and you never completed yours, so I never started mine.
Well, technically, I have completed games.
Yes, you have completed games. That is true. You've completed,
and I gotta say,
Super C.
live. Well, yes. Here's what happened in 2017. Going into this year, very, very few games under my belt that I had played to completion. Admittedly, but
that is truth.
Yeah, no, but this year, it just it changed. It started with Super C. I just got up I was at Anthony Chu's house. I was crashing at his place. He has a NES Classic, so I just figured, all right, well, he's still sleeping because it's almost noon. So I figure I'll play a game. And just out of nowhere, for the first time ever, I beat Super C. I was ecstatic about that. Of course, then I had to do it again live because someone in this podcasting room did not believe me. So I needed to do it live.
Whoever could that be?
Live on Facebook, and then not only that, I completed Contra without the Konami code. I completed for the first time live on Facebook.
Yep.
I came very close to beating Splatterhouse, which was the first time, and I did on my own. Just again, I was just playing, so I wasn't recording anything. I beat which one was it? One of the Mega Mans on Game Boy. I think it was the first one. No, maybe the second one. I think it was the second one. So I've been racking up a lot of completions there. So that was one of the big things I took away as well from 2017. I'm finally learning patience with these games that I did not have when I was younger.
Right, and I'm learning that I've lost a step or two on games. So
yeah, yours are going the other way.
Man. I'm going in the other direction. Like I was I was so close to beating Nightmare on Elm Street several times, and I couldn't do it. I got stuck on Goonies 2. I tried Goonies for the first time, and I got pretty far on that one for a first timer. But I am struggling to beat games, and I have a feeling that it's your fault.
What? Because now I'm doing so good?
No, I think it's just this show is having a negative effect on me. So
where it's having a positive effect on me.
Yeah, right. Speaking to you about retro games has somehow made me crappier at gaming.
Well, that's that can happen. Side effects of doing this show can include not completing games. Yep.
Although I will say this year, my first live stream was completing Shining Force 2, which I had never completed before.
It was. Speaking of supposedly completing online, where is your live stream of Breath of the Wild?
I can live stream that whenever you're ready because I've beaten that 2 or 3 times now.
Oh, okay. And how about with the DLC?
DLC, I finished the first one. I haven't gone back to Zelda to play the second DLC because I'm in the middle of completing Mario Odyssey. So we talked about this before, but I'm over 800 moons. So I'm getting into the I'm heading towards 999.
Oh man. So I've. Yeah. No, this has been. You know what? Overall, all joking aside, overall, this has been 2017. You know, we were talking about earlier how it was just so fast, but it was for the podcast. It was definitely really good stuff.
Oh yeah, we accomplished a lot this year in terms of retro gaming. My collection has grown exponentially. We've just, it's just, we've kind of relit the spark that is retro gaming. So, and we'll just keep going.
2017, it has happened, which I really feared was going to happen, but it did because of this podcast. Now I'm repurchasing all of these games.
Uh-huh.
I was really not looking forward to doing
I
that.
never got rid of them.
Well, again, I didn't have much of a choice, thank you. Some of them.
Well, true, but
Not
for the
all of
most
them.
part, I also got to inherit some good stuff too.
That is true, man.
Yeah. By the way, another shout out to my cousin Michael, who's always, who was on our show and was on the live show in August and was gracious enough to give me his Sega Saturn that I haven't turned on
I
yet.
was going to say, not yet. What's the matter? Oh, man, I would be playing that already.
I know. I've been busy.
Doing what? Come on.
Mario Odyssey.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll take it.
There you go.
So, again, 2017, it's a year in the books. And you know what? Everyone can listen to all the shows of 2017. We're talking about it. You can relive it whenever you want. iTunes, Spreaker, YouTube. iHeartRadio has the last 10 episodes, but still. Amazon Alexa, I don't know how far that goes back. Probably just the newest episode. But still, you can definitely relive all these episodes. Check it out. Not only for this show, but for all the shows on more of the same network. Check out Victims and Villains. Check out the PS Midnight Cast. This love of podcasting. And 2017 was big. Let's hope 2018 is even bigger.
Oh, I think it will be. I think it's going to be Virtual Boy big.
Oh, no.
Wait. All right, Larry, we're closing out the year with a very special Did You Know?
Ooh, all right.
We started these a couple months ago, and they've been really interesting. And since I've been obsessed lately with Super Mario Odyssey, I decided to go back to the beloved Mario franchise to come up with an interesting Did You Know?
Ooh, okay.
And this one revolves around Yoshi.
Oh, okay.
So Yoshi is Mario's little weird dinosaur-looking friend who eats everything in sight.
Yeah.
But did you know that Yoshi isn't his actual full name?
Really?
Yeah. So somebody looking through Nintendo's I don't know, Super Mario books or something like that at the offices found that, Yoshi was originally given a full name. He wasn't just called Yoshi. So Yoshi is short for something else.
Yoshi-san.
No, not at all. So actually, Yoshi's full name is T. Yoshi Sor Munchakoopas.
Munchakoopas.
That's his last name. I don't know what the T stands for, but the bottom line is the Yoshi Sor Munchakoopas. Yeah, maybe. But anyway, yeah. So that is Yoshi's legitimate full name, and that is this week's Did You Know?
And this week in gaming. What do we got, bro?
Thank you, Josh. And with that, this is the final This Week in Gaming of 2017.
And it might possibly be the final This Week in Gaming period.
There's only so much we can talk about every year with the big name games.
Yeah, exactly. So, since it's the end of the year, and we always have plenty of other things to talk about on our show. So, I think we're going to wrap up This Week in Gaming. So, Josh, we're sorry. We will no longer be able to use your intro.
Yep.
However,
the checks will be stopping. They stopped about 3 weeks ago. So.
Okay, there were checks?
They're just sheets of paper. It's okay. Crayon.
Oh, okay.
If you didn't figure it out.
Oh, okay. So he falls for that, huh? All right. So for This Week in Gaming, we're going to start back in 1983 on the Commodore PET.
Ah, the PET.
The PET. We got a game called The Wizard's Castle.
Ooh.
2 years later, in 1985, on the Famicom in Japan, we got Penguin Coon Wars. Now, when I say coon, I mean Kun.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know. It's not penguin and raccoons.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, okay.
1986 on the Famicom in Japan, a great game, Arkanoid.
Ooh, nice. Love that game.
That game used to eat up so many of my quarters.
Absolutely.
Moving on to 1987 on the Famicom in Japan, the not so great Superman game.
Ooh, oofa.
I think we're still waiting for a good Superman game.
I can't believe Superman has not gotten a good game.
I think Death in Return was the closest he had.
Yes, you know what? You're
Super
right.
Nintendo.
You're absolutely right.
That was it.
Yep.
He never had another one. Moving on to 1988 on the Famicom in Japan. We have a lot of foreign games on our list this week.
Okay.
Not a lot came out during Christmas week in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess at that point nobody's shopping, so nobody cares.
Everyone was already done shopping.
Yeah, 1988 on the Famicom in Japan, Mega Man 2.
Oh, probably, arguably, the best in the series.
The best Mega Man in the series. No question. Moving on to 1989 in Japan on the Sharp X68000.
Oh, I'm going to miss talking about that.
Yeah, me too. We're just going to have to buy one.
Yeah.
We have Super Hang-On.
Ooh, really? Nice, great game.
I love that game.
Great motorcycle game, yeah.
1990 on the Nintendo in the United Kingdom.
Ah, the UK. Oi, governor.
No.
Oh.
No.
No? Okay.
But in 1990 they got Contra.
Wow, they got it late.
Yeah, they did get it late. But at least they got it.
Yeah.
Moving on to 1991 on the Sega Genesis in Japan. One of my favorite games to play on the Genesis, Golden Axe 2.
You know, I played the first Golden Axe like there was no tomorrow, but I don't remember playing the second one that much.
Oh, I love the second one.
Yeah?
The second one was
All right.
fantastic. Moving on to 1992 on the Game Gear in Japan, there was Shining Force Gaiden.
Ooh, I wonder what that is.
I don't know, but I want it.
I feel like that may be like almost like a rehash of the first one, if it's Gaiden. I don't know why.
Might be. I don't know. I have to do some research on it because I want all the Shining games. By the way, Shining Force 3 for the Sega Saturn is currently on eBay for $1,200.
Wow. That
So I won't.
Man, I thought
won't
like
be
100. Yeah,
I won't be buying that anytime
I
soon.
thought like $130 was a lot.
I know.
That's now a
$1,200.
steal.
Crazy. 1993 on the Super Famicom in Japan, we got Zen Nippon Pro Wrestling Dash Sakai Saikyo Tag.
Zen Nipple Pro Wrestling. All right.
Zen Nipple Pro Wrestling. I actually own this game.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. I bought a whole bunch of their Super Famicom wrestling games when I was
Cool.
there. So I have it. I haven't played it. Moving on to 1994 on the Super Nintendo in the good old US of A, we got Tetris and Dr. Mario. Remember the combo?
Oh, yes, I remember that combo. Yeah. Two great
That was
puzzlers.
really fun. This one's an interesting one. 1995 on the Macintosh. We got a movie-based game.
Oh.
And I don't know. I always love the title of this movie, The Indian in the Cupboard.
Oh, I hated that movie. Wait, how did that be a game?
It got a video game. I guess like the Indian's hiding in the cupboard and you have to find them. I don't know.
Did someone confuse the DVD maybe for a game? I don't know.
No idea. Moving on to 1996 on the Neo Geo CD.
Okay.
We got Samurai Showdown 4: Amakusa's Revenge.
Ooh.
You know,
It's about
don't wanna-
$1,200. That's probably how much a Neo Geo CD cost.
Yeah, pretty much. Moving on to 1997 on the Sony PlayStation, we got Road Rash.
Oh, classic series.
Excellent game. 1998 on the Nintendo 64. Do you remember Battle Tanks?
Oh, I do remember Battle Tanks. Yes,
Yeah, Battle Tanks was super fun.
it was.
1999 on the Sony PlayStation, Worms Armageddon.
I liked Worms Armageddon. I remember playing that.
I couldn't play it because it was about worms.
Well, I mean, it was like it was like a strategic battle.
Yes, I know, but with worms.
Yeah, it's like kind of in the vein of Lemmings.
I know. I draw the line at worms. Moving on to 2000 on the Game Boy Color, we got Warriors of Might and Magic.
Oh, okay.
Game that still exists today.
It sure does.
2001 PlayStation 2, probably the most famous game on the list. for this week in gaming. Final Fantasy X.
Oh, huge release.
Came out.
Huge release.
Yes, excellent, absolutely excellent. I remember my cousin Michael telling me about that game. I think he loved that game. 2002 on the Atari 2600. Homebrew game. We got Return of Mario Brothers.
What could that have been like?
I don't even want to know. But in 2003, on the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and GameCube in Japan, they got a copy of Sonic Heroes.
Yeah. Okay.
Not the best game.
Yeah.
Not the best Sonic game. 2004 on the Xbox, MechAssault 2, Lone Wolf.
Oh, those games were good. I like those games.
Yeah, they were okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of those, but they were fun.
Mm-hmm.
2005 on the J2ME.
What the hell is that?
We looked it up one day. It was a handheld thing. The J2ME. We got Sonic the Hedgehog was released on it.
Oh, okay. Can't go wrong with that.
Yep. And last but not least, in 2006, the same year that like the Xbox 360 and the Nintendo Wii came out and all that stuff, in 2006 we got Astro Chase for the Commodore 64.
Oh my god! What?
It was a digital download.
What? On a Commodore?
And that is this week in gaming.
Oh man, that is this year in 2017.
That is that is 2017 for the retro gamers. All done.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's been a heck of a year, a heck of a ride. There were just games aplenty, Virtual Boy insults galore. And you know what? There was just lots of fun.
There was. This was definitely a huge year for us at the Retro Gamers and here at the More of the Same Network. Look forward to us in 2018, and I'm really predicting bigger and better things in 2018, including, maybe we get a little merch out there. Who knows? We'll see.
Hint, hint. Maybe we may just do something like that. We also may be, upping our video streaming, and our YouTube page.
Absolutely.
So we have some plans in store, so stay tuned.
Stick around. And we want to thank everybody who listens to the podcast each and every week, or even just for one time only. And for those new to the podcast, we thank all of you for joining us on this ride. We really hope that we've kind of re-sparked your love, your interest in classic gaming.
And if we haven't, that's your fault, not ours.
That is true. Go out there, buy some classic games. Go support your classic game stores because they got some tremendous games out there. I got a bunch of them out here on Long Island. Ant, you got a bunch out there in L.A.
I definitely do. And yeah, please shop at those. I mean, I know, I do my shopping online just as much as everybody else, but there's something about those mom and pop shops, especially for retro gaming, that make them a little extra special.
Absolutely. And when you go out there, if you buy a game, if you go to a Comic-Con, Comic-Con's been selling classic games as well. If you buy one, take a picture of it, post it on our Facebook page, let the world see what you're picking up, let the world see what you're playing. Let us know. Hit us up everywhere. Our what is it called? Website, theretrogamers.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Theretrogamers.com, Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. Of course, the Instagram page at @the_RetroGamers. And again, happy, I was going to say happy anniversary. That's weird. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. May 2018 bring you health, happiness, and retro gaming.
Absolutely. Same to you. And to 2018, folks, we will talk to you next year right here on the Retro Gamers.